so this morning we are going to learn about neurofibromatosis, but before we do that, we have to learn about cellular communication for the 13 millionth time. So it is essential to survival. Cells use signaling pathways, and they use local signaling and long-range signaling so they can tell each other what's happening in the cell. Neurofibromatosis, the mutation of the NF1, NF2, SMARCB1, and LTZR1 genes on the 17th and 22nd chromosome. On the 17th chromosome, it is the coding for neurofibromin, it controls the ROS protein, which is sent by the other cells that tells it how to grow. And Merlin is from the 22nd chromosome, and it is also a tumor suppressor found in Schwann cells that make up the myelin sheath that surround our cells. Merlin plays a pivotal role in tumor suppression by restricting proliferation and promoting apoptosis. This is the 17th and 22nd chromosome. This is where NF1 and NF2 genes are located. There's also 3 types of neurofibromatosis. Can you move? Okay.
As a receptor site for a small molecule called a ligand exposed on the outside of the cell.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
Ligand binds to the receptor site on the outside of the cell membrane. The G protein changes conformation, and guanosine triphosphate replaces the guanosine diphosphate on the alpha subunit of the G protein. The activated alpha subunit then separates from the beta and gamma subunits. This step can be repeated as long as the ligand remains bound to the receptor. When the ligand separates from the receptor site, additional G proteins are no longer activated. Inactivation of the alpha subunit occurs when its own phosphorylase activity removes a phosphate from the guanosine triphosphate, leaving guanosine diphosphate bound to the subunit. The G protein subunits then recombine and attach to the receptor in the cell membrane.
Alright, so big thanks to Ibrahim right there. Alright, so right here we can see where the neurofibromin changes the guanosine triphosphate back into the guanosine diphosphate. So without the neurofibromin, it would not be able to send out its messages throughout the cell, and it would stay going over and over again, and it would also not know when to grow or not, so it would just keep growing and growing and growing, and that's why you get benign tumors. So symptoms of NF1 they happen in your early childhood. So when you're born, you have freckles in your groin and in your armpits, and it's in 1 in 3,000 people. These are the neurofibromas. These are cafe au lait spots, and these are harmless leech nodules that you have on the iris of your eye. And these are optic gliomas, which are tumors on your optic nerve. This is NF2. With NF2, it's your Schwann cells. So, and it's like they make up the sheath surrounding your cells, your nerve cells. So it's usually for NF2 anyway, it's on the optic nerve and your hearing nerve. So that's why you have poor balance, ringing in the ears, hearing loss, facial vision problems, and seizures. And these are the symptoms for schwannomatosis type 2. Schwannomatosis. You get numbness, tingling, weakness in facial muscles, bowel dysfunction, difficulty urinating, vision changes, and headaches. And you get neurofibromatosis from, it's either parent to child or a random mutation in your genes. And if your mom or dad is infected with it, there's a 50% chance that you're also going to get it. Okay. Neurofibromatosis is survivable, but there is no cure. Life expectancy for people who have NF1 and schwannomatosis is normal, but for people with NF2, it is 10 to 15 years less than normal. So these are some treatments for neurofibromatosis type 2, and all of it really. Imaging tests to see if you have any tumors in your brain. Genetic tests to see if your kids will eventually get neurofibromatosis. Surgery to remove the benign tumors that are in your way. Usually they do the surgeries on your ears, so because if you have tumors on your ears, it gives you really bad headaches. And this is stereostatic radiosurgery, and that's where they can pinpoint really specific areas where you need radiation so they can kill the tumors in your brain. And you can also get cochlear implants, which are hearing aids basically. And you also get drugs for nerve pain, but I cannot say any of these. And that's it.